What is up, speedsters? Welcome to a new Flash Season 5 video. Now, this video is all about Cicada. Do you know a little bit about him? Do you know much about him? Do you even know that he is the villain for Season 5? Well, you should do. He was kind of teased in the end of that trailer. But in this video, I want to discuss a little bit about his backstory, how I think it could blend over into the main Flash TV show, or at least their adaptation of him, and kind of go over what we saw in the trailer and just what it means for his character from the comics to on screen. But if you want to stay more up to date with more Flash videos just like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel just down there. Other than that, I would really appreciate it if you threw a lightning bolt dagger on that like button to surge it with speed, calcified speed force energy. Yes, I just said calcified. Also, speedsters, be sure to check out my previous Flash video on the card that is popping up there. It is about what Barry needs to know from Nora. Nora is definitely hiding something. What is she doing in the time vault? What is Barry learning in the time vault? Be sure to check that video out there and then come back to this one. So first of all, who is playing our ultimate big bad in Season 5? Cicada. Now that is Klein. Now he is most known for the American Pie films, and he plays Oz in those. And to be honest, personally, that's all I know him for. Of course, he's been in other things, but mainly I know him from American Pie. Now, first of all, I would have really wanted Mark Pellegrino to be Cicada, but at the end of the day, even though this was at first slightly kind of an underwhelming feeling to me, regardless, we haven't seen him on screen, and he could be a really badass Cicada and do all kinds of new things with this role that the show has never seen before with a big bad. But the thing is, you may have seen the Flash Season 5 trailer, you may know a little bit about Cicada just based on that he has a freaking Darth Vader-like breathing kind of mask or apparatus on his face, and he puts a lightning bolt dagger down on the table that somehow absorbs energy from a TV. And other than that, you really may not know much about this villain, apart from that he just seems to have some beef with the Flash. So first of all, let's quickly go over his backstory in the comics, and then later on discuss how this could actually come to fruition in the Flash Season 5 and what his main motivations might be. So the character Cicada was created back in 2001 by Jeff Johns and Scott Collins, and as for his story, he essentially murdered his wife and as a result felt quite a bit of regret, and then that regret links in with him wanting to end his own life. But then Cicada was struck by a bolt of lightning, and as a result of being struck by lightning, he gained the ability to absorb the life force of others, which expanded his life for around a century-ish. So as a result of being struck by lightning, Cicada kind of felt quite connected to the Flash, because he felt like his accident with the lightning bolt was the same accident as what happened to the Flash. So therefore, as a result of them both being struck by lightning, he thought, God, man, we must be linked, right? But in the comic backstory, not only did this lightning bolt give Cicada the vision of immortality, but it also gave him like this vision on how he can bring back his wife through, you know, just resurrecting her. As a result of this, a cult was created called the Cicada Cult, and this cult actually accumulated quite a few followers, and all of these followers had the lightning bolt daggers, just like what we saw at the end of the trailer. And across time, like, his main goal was to resurrect his, you know, past wife. Now that in a nutshell is the core of Cicada's backstory, but as you may know, recently we had San Diego Comic-Con and there was a Flash panel, and they very briefly mentioned Cicada. And after being asked about Cicada and the fact that in the comics he had this cult of cicadas, or the Cicada Cult, this is what he had to say about the character in Season 5. He essentially went over how, you know, they obviously usually do mix it up from the comics, and you know, as a result, in his own words, they kind of put it through the Flash blender, which basically I interpret as, you know, change it up, a little bit of a loose adaptation. It's going to be different on screens. So as a result, Todd went on to say he's not so much of a cult leader, but his powers sort of present a challenge for Team Flash that they've never had to deal with before. So in a nutshell, he essentially said that the story that I, you know, just gave you, the core background of Cicada, isn't going to be exactly the same on the Flash TV show. Now, we don't know this for sure, but going off what Todd Helbing said at the panel, in that he's not so much a cult leader, the cult might not exist at all in this iteration. And that lightning bolt dagger we saw at the end of the Flash Season 5 trailer could be the only one. Now, personally, I think having just one lightning bolt dagger like the one we saw at the end of the Flash Season 5 trailer makes it a lot more unique and special, rather than a whole cult of followers running around with these freaking lightning bolt daggers, you know, potentially OP as hell, and just, you know, obliterating people with them. So let's just say the cult has kind of been taken out, and there isn't multiple lightning bolt daggers, and there's just this one, or there might be two, like in the comics where he equips a couple. It means that this dagger would be quite a threat, obviously. This dagger would be the only, you know, beefed up one. Especially with what powers and abilities it might have in combination with Cicada's metagene. Because if you remember in the trailer, it seemed to be like pulsing with what I could only really compare to as with Speed Force energy. It literally was, as you can see on screen right now, this red like zapping Speed Force energy. I can't really explain it like anything else. But the thing is, when the dagger was slapped down on the desk where we saw some drawings that his daughter, I assume, you know, drew, it seemed to gain all that energy, whatever it is, from the TV when the flash was on it. So does this mean he accumulates freaking electricity from the TV, or was it obviously like as it was kind of intended, the flash being on the TV at the same time was no coincidence that the dagger drew that energy? But at the same time, is there something even more mystical about this dagger that can kind of, even though these are just pixels being displayed on the screen, the dagger knew that was to do with the flash, so it absorbs up. Do you know what I mean? I really felt like that kind of should have been shown a bit more clearer, because at the end of the day, that could have been, I don't know, Channel 3 showing some antique program, and what would the dagger have got the energy then? Probably not. We also do interestingly have an official description for the Cicada character in season 5, which kind of gives us a bit more light on what they're kind of going for in the show, as opposed to the comics, which they've already kind of changed up within itself. Chris Klein is obviously a little younger than the typical comic Cicada that we've got in the past. He has this like long ass beard. He looks like a freaking bold Merlin, if anything. But anyway, the description is as follows: a grizzled blue collar everyman whose family has been torn apart by metahumans. Cicada now seeks to exterminate the epidemic, one metahuman at a time. Now, one thing I will say, which wasn't revealed in that nor at the San Diego Comic-Con panel, is that his name hasn't been revealed. And I think that's pretty interesting that his name hasn't been revealed, because why wouldn't they? For example, with the Thinker, they were like, oh, you know, his name's Clifford DeVoe and blah, 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 blah. Because in the comics, his name is David Hirsch. So whereas I just said that the Thinker's name was dropped before, but now, you know, the Cicada's name hasn't been dropped, are people right in speculating that the whole Thomas thing in The Flash, if you remember, it was dropped around Caitlin and, you know, blah, 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 Thomas isn't, I can't remember the quote. Are people right along the lines of saying that his name could be Thomas Hirsch, and that could have something to do with Caitlin's backstory? Caitlin's gonna have a big backstory anyway this season, but I think it would be out of this world if her freaking father was Cicada. I kind of don't think that's true, because I feel like his story is going to be detached, and it's going to be kind of this tragic but yet typical story arc of his family was destroyed by metahumans, as it kind of said in that, you know, general kind of character description, and he's got to want revenge. He's got to want, you know, to kill every single metahuman out there and exterminate them, and he's going to blame the Flash and think of him as the worst one, probably. Now, I'm not saying that his name's Thomas and that freaking he's Caitlin's father or anything like that, but I do find it interesting that they didn't say, oh yeah, his name's David Hirsch, he goes by the name of Cicada, he blah blah blah, has a lightning bolt dagger. Do you know what I mean? Now, going back to Cicada himself and how I think he might play out on screen. As for Cicada in the show, I'm not so sure that it will play out like the comics, and that he will be able to kill people and gain their souls, which will allow him a century more of life. I mean, I can imagine that he will be going around and killing metahumans because he potentially blames them for what happened to his family, but also as a result of this, it makes him kind of more powerful and even unstoppable if he keeps killing them. And this is because it perhaps gives the lightning bolt dagger more power too, and this is why Todd Helbing's description of Cicada says that the powers will present a problem for Team Flash that they've never had to deal with before. So what if the more bodies of metas that he stacks up, the more power that accumulates, to the point where maybe there is actually kind of gathering of energy from the metahumans that he might be able to resurrect. I don't know. Bringing that would be pretty cool to the show, but I'm just not sure if they're actually going to do it. They might just purely rely on the fact that he's lost his family, and that's going to be his ambition, and he's going to get so powerful through gaining all of the, you know, stacking all of this energy, meta energy in the dagger or something, that he can take out the Flash, or he gets more powers that come along with the taking down of other metahumans. Now, as for Cicada in the trailer, I mean, it definitely matches up with what kind of vibe we're getting with this iteration. Cicada may have not even killed his wife like he did in the comics, but it definitely seems apparent that he's had a child and most likely a daughter who's been drawing all these pictures, and there's toys everywhere like Barbie dolls, and there's that doll in the background that some people thought was a and some people do still think that it is actually like a kid just sitting back in the room, but it's very, very clearly a doll. But regardless, guys, it definitely seems that he's lost this family life he once had, and this will very obviously be his main motivation this season for his villainy. You can also just see with like how he's kind of kept all the drawings and everything around, but there's just like takeaway stuff and you know, just all kind of like he's been living a grubby life without cleaning up after himself so much. He's probably just been going in this apartment or this lounge area of his house or whatever this place is where he once lived, and he's just not really been taking care of himself. He's probably been seething out the thought of the Flash and just thinking about what his life has come to, and he's decided to like make a difference about it and rise up as a villain, Cicada, and go around doing whatever he's doing with that lightning bolt dagger he slapped on the table that freaking pulses with this energy. But one of the other things is, why is he breathing like this? Why has he got this freaking, you know, Darth Vader like apparatus on his face? Now, who knows? I mean, what I keep thinking is, if he needs this all the time, are we not going to see this alternative version of Cicada like wandering around as his everyday self, like comparable to like the other villains, all the other villains we saw him outside the suit as well? Eobard Thawne, freaking Zoom, freaking the Thinker, even like Savitar. We've all seen him wander around without their villainous kind of, you know, mask on, which Cicada has. So let's just assume that's the case. I don't think that maybe he needs to wear this when he's using the lightning bolt dagger, or well, I don't know. It can't just be to conceal his identity. I mean, maybe it is, but there must be more of a point to it than that. As I just mentioned, I think that he shouldn't have to wear that all the time. Otherwise, we're never going to see Chris Klein's Cicada walk around as like a normal bloke. So I kind of like seeing that vibe in seasons with a big bad. I kind of like them walking around taunting Barry Allen in his, you know, not Flash self, but the Barry Allen CSI self, and kind of stirring trouble like that throughout the season. But I don't want it just to be cool for the sake of being cool. I want some freaking explanation there. What if when he needs to absorb powers or absorb the life soul, which I don't know if they're really good at doing in the TV show, from the metahumans, does he need that mask on to do it? I would have thought it would just all like be absorbed into the dagger or something like that. But anyway, guys, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you kind of learned a little bit more about next season's villain. I'm actually quite excited for him. I know some people aren't, especially after last year having just another metahuman, which was, you know, the Thinker. Now we've got another one. You would have to definitely think season 6 is going to 100% be a speedster, but I'm still very, very thankfully happy with the premise of season 5, because season 4 was a big disappointment for me, and you know, with everything that's being set up for the next season, I cannot wait. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button, and if you want to see more Flash content and other content, nerdy content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss out on a single video. Also, if you missed out on my San Diego Comic-Con Flash season 5 trailer breakdown, click the card right up there to go to that video now and enjoy that one as well. Links, as always, are in the description down below, guys, to my social media where you can follow me. I have a Discord server, I have Patreon, check all of those out. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.